welcome back to 18OE Rails of the Orient Express. We're going to start operating round 1 after the second stock phase has been finished. And let's pay our privates. Right now, Medici is in fantastic shape. I would say he's probably winning the game. We do have to start getting concerned about certificates. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 certificates. We're allowed to have 29. And then he has 2 more here because those 2 privates are considered certificates. So those privates give him 10 bucks. So you're probably starting to see that that 10 bucks is not as valuable now as it was at the beginning of the game. But, you know, he still gets to keep making it until he gets to his limit of 29. He doesn't have to close those companies. And here we get $15 for Wellington. So he will gladly take the 15. And then it is $20 for Mr. Troikovsky here. He's fleeing to Mexico, and I think he's the guy that fled to Mexico because Stalin was going to kill him or something like that. I don't know my history that well. All right, and then this is $25 for Mr. de Gaulle, who needs every dollar. Now, these are very useful, and he does need to use them, and I need to take time on his turn to figure out where is the best place. And at this moment, he hasn't needed them, but they are going to be nice when he does finally use them. And and then it gets to us, and we get 40 bucks. 40 bucks is better than nothing. And as you can see, I'm piling over Greece here, but Greece is so far an insignificant part of the game. We do have these big stacks of Money Doom, and I probably need to sort through those as we start playing to maybe get some change and make it look less stacky. But off we go. The players, as you can see, the regional board is getting smaller and smaller as we move everything down. We still have one company there, and that was a deliberate decision by Mr. Wellington because he wants to get a 3 train and he thinks this is his only way, and he might be right. That might have been the smartest thing he's done in a long time. C can go first or last, and C is going to choose to go first. If he's going to be able to buy a 3 train, it's now or never. So C is right there in the Netherlands, and he's going to connect to Rotterdam because he needs to get some cash. So to connect to Rotterdam is going to cost him 30 bucks. But he gets $40 according to the tech level. So that's a net gain of 10 bucks for him. So he's going to take those 10 bucks right now. And he gets 3 track points. He's spending nothing. He cannot spend money. He needs all of his dollars. So what he can do is just some weird, thing like that. And then help out any government if there was ever going to be a government company there. But it doesn't help him. He has a 2 train only, but he's going to go to London. So he's going to get London for 60, himself for 40, and then 2 whistle stops for 120. So it's going to be 60 bucks for him and 60 bucks for de Gaulle. Now, this is a minor company, so he is not allowed to withhold the money. Because if he could take all 120 bucks, he'd have his 3 train. But he cannot do that. Getting a $60 revenue, though, was pretty good. So let's see how well he did. This is 150, so he's off to a great start. 175, 85, 95, 205, 210, 215, 220. A new 3 train is $225. Isn't that crazy? But what he's going to do then is he's just going to take 20 bucks off and 150, 75, 85, 95. He's going to pay $200 and get a 3 train without the whistle stops. And that's not the end of the world for him, but what it does is it keeps him alive. And de Gaulle wants him to stay alive. And what I mean by alive, I mean when the 2 trains rust, he'll still have something to run. And that's better than having nothing to run. So he's going to take the opposite side for 200. And C is remaining viable in this game. So we're going to move C down like so. So now it's A's turn. A is Medici, and A is sitting over here in France. A is going to help SFR to get connected to Paris. So we're going to put this in like so. So now they have a pathway that goes all the way to Italy. And if you'll notice, this is blocked. So A is going to upgrade this for 2 points to help them bypass that city. Because the Italian companies need to get through there to get to Paris. And if they can get to Paris, they can do an OE run at some point. And that's the idea. I'm actually extremely low on tiles, and that's never happened to me before. In fact, I'm wondering if they somehow got mixed in with something else. And I'm finding nothing. Oh my gosh, I've never run into this before. I think it's because I'm playing the way I would play with every one of these players, and the other people I play with don't do what I do. So here's my problem. I want to go up here, and I keep finding I have nothing but that token, and that's not helping me. I mean, I guess it would if I'm willing to pay 45 bucks. That's not going to help me, is it? Nope. Wow. So now what I got to do is I got to look to see. I do have the right to see if there's any track that I can steal from that will do what I want it to do, and I can replace it with one of the currently existing. And that's going to be very hard. But I think I found it. This one right here, I can put this in and get the same effect, because this is a $45 mountain instead of a $60 mountain, so it's actually better, and then get what I want. Like so. All right, so that was 3 track points. 2 for the upgrade, 1 for this. And A has a 2 train. I'm pretty darn sure it does. And it still only has 1 token on the board. It probably would like to put a second token on the board, but at this point we can't because we need every dollar we have. So he's going to run for 90, 100, 110. So that's 55, 55. So we're going to go pay Medici. I'm going to stop at this bank right here because it's got a lot of 50s and 5s. And we're going to give $55 to each of them. So Mr. Medici is getting 55, and Company A is getting 55. And we're looking at, that's 100. This is 150, 60, 70, 80, 190. It is not enough for a 3 train. And that's what we figured. And that was the one, these 2 were the companies, yeah. Anyways, A is not getting a 3 train. And I highly doubt it ever will. It was still a good financial move by Medici, I think, because you're going to see with A special power. All right, A is done. Now we move to E. E is run by Russia, Troikovsky, and it is the one that's in Sevastopol. So E is sitting there, and he still can place a token somewhere, but I don't think there's anywhere he really wants to. We can upgrade that for 2. And then, E has the ability to go through water. So we're spending E's money. E's not getting a 3 train, I don't think. Let's look at E real quick. E has about $125, $35. He's not getting a 3 train. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna back the camera up a little bit. And you can see here, we wanna go through these wetlands. So there's 1, 2, 3 wetlands we gotta go through before we can break through to Constantinople. And E, even though we have the right to go outside of our borders, E is a minor, and he has to stay within Russia, but there's 2 of them here he can do. So he's gonna do 1, that's for 36 bucks, and 2 for 36 more. Okay, so that's $72. Oh, hold on, that's not 36 bucks. E gets a 50% off, because E gets a discount on water. And then Russia gives him a 20% off. So he gets a 33%, Russia gives him a 20%, so it's 50% off. It's a $45 zone times 2, right? So I'm just gonna pay $45. And I will take care of that. That's 2 track points. He gets a bonus track point because he laid in wetlands. So normally he has 3. He now has 4. He spent 2. He still has 2. And yes, he can still do the upgrade that he was originally going to do. I hope that made sense. His special ability, if he lays on wetlands, is he gets an extra track point. All right, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to make it so I can reach across this table. We just take a $50 off of him and give him $5 back because he pays 45 bucks for all of that. And E is going to run for 100 bucks. So that's 50 and 50. So we're going to take $50 for Tchaikovsky and $50 for E. And E is not going to be anywhere close to a 3 train. And that's okay. M is up. M is here in Italy. M is also not banking on a 3 train. So what he's doing is he's going to plow through these mountains here and get Naples up and going. So he's going to spend $30 here. And then his other 2 points is going to be to put Naples in play there. So he does get a 20% discount, so it's 24 bucks. So he's going to run for 40, 80, 90, 100. So it's a 50-50 again for each company, and he owes 24 bucks. So let's grab some more 50s from over here because we're running short on this side. Medici is going to get 50. M gets 50, but then he owes 24 bucks. So we're going to pay that, get $1 back. And you can see here he's at 150 and some change. He's not able to get a 3 train. I think everybody sort of knew that was going to be the case, but Medici got an extra 50 bucks out of him before. So G is up, and G is run by Russia. So that's his other minor he was thinking of closing but didn't. And G gets 3 track points, and he can't lay anywhere because G is up there in Sweden and Norway. And there's really just not much to do. He can help the government of Sweden and Norway out, but that's only helping us and DSJ, and he doesn't want to help us. G can never be a government company. And the only people who can be a government in Sweden and Norway is a company that started in Sweden and Norway, and DSJ is the only company that started in Sweden and Norway. So long story short, he's only helping us if he lays track. So he's not going to do that. He's just going to run. And so he has a $50 spot up there. So we go up to that red zone. That's a $50 spot, and then it doesn't matter where he goes. from there, the next city is $40 for 90, 100, 110. So it's 110. So that's a 55 and 55. So I'm going to reach across the table. I'm giving $55 to Mr. Tchaikovsky and $55 to company G. And G is looking at 150. So this is G's situation. You can see there he has 150 plus some change. He doesn't have enough. And what's crazy is G gets 2 extra track points. And he's in a place where he doesn't want to lay track. That was not a very smart placement of G. Now we go to D. Now D is in great shape to buy a 3 train. And D is this company here in Little France. So looking at the situation, he can lay 1 track, and he will. And he's going to do this right here. He's going to lay Toulouse, and he's going to get $30. So that will help him towards his quest of getting a 3 train. And as far as anything else goes, I don't think he has anything else he really wants to lay down. He can't leave France. Okay, so his spot is a $60 spot. So is London. So we have 60 plus 60 plus 20 for whistle stops. So he's making $140. So it will be 70 and 70. And let's go over and pay him. And he's actually going to get $100 because he gets another 30 for that city that he built on. So D will get $100. And then $70 for Mr. Wellington. And so here we got 100, 200, 25. That is enough for a 3 train. So D is one of the first miners to buy a 3 train, and I'm not surprised one bit. That's usually how it goes. So he gets one of the remaining preciouses. And there was a celebration in Mr. Wellington's plantation. Okay, next. After D is L, that's us. We get to go. And I think we're going to get a 3 train. I really do. And so let's see what we can do with L. So I'm just trying to find a spot to lay the camera here without destroying the board. Okay, so our situation is we are here in Scotland. We can connect to here. We can connect to 3 places. And then going off to Sweden there, that is a $60 place. It's just as valuable as London. So we have 2 $60 places and a $40 and 3 whistle stops. So it's that simple. We're going to do 60 plus 40 plus 30 whistle stop. That's a $190 run. And we have to divide it by 2, so it's $95 each. So let's see how we did. I grabbed $100, and I'm going to give it to us and pay $5 back. And I'm going to give $100 to Mr. L here. I have to pay $5 back. So I'll just put in a 10, take back a 5. And here we go. As you can see, 100, 200, 25. And that makes total sense. L is the other one that usually gets the monies. And L is going to get a 3 train. Now, I'm just realizing that the third company that usually always gets the 3 train is company K here. And we forgot to pay him. He gets $40. So we're going to grab a 50 and hand it to him, give $10 back. And just by getting paid, without even doing a run, there's 100, there's 225. He has $225 without even taking his turn. So as long as it gets to K's turn, he will be able to buy a 3 train. But I think we're in a big pickle. And here's what I mean by that. If you look here, there's only 1 3 train left. And when L finished his turn, K is here. Guess who decided not to go major because he knew that was the only way he was going to get a 3 train? BHB. So he's going to take the last 3 train and screw Company K. And that is a very interesting turnabout in this game. I'm actually quite impressed that worked out that way. I'm still insistent that the Chin Company had a 3 train and it somehow got misplaced. But I just don't see it anywhere. I don't see it here. Nowhere. So, okay. Well, let's go do BHB's turn. BHB only gets 3 track points because he's still a regional. And he only has a 2 train. So he's going to probably do nothing. He will go ahead and upgrade this because he might end up becoming a national. For 2. Yeah, he's going to run to Berlin, so that's a $120 run. And BHB does not have any shares. Wellington has all the shares. So Wellington's going to get the $120. And that was part of his plan to give himself some more cash. But I think BHB just has enough because Wellington bought his share. So here's 100. There's 150, 200, 225, all 1 stack. So BHB is buying a 3 train. And it's the last one. So everybody is biting their nails because if 1 more train is purchased, the 2s are all going to rust. And the de Gaulle's plan to have Chin and Plum do an OE run before the 2 trains rust is now in serious jeopardy. That is a massive part of his plan, is he wants to get the OE run before the trains rust. And he is now at very serious situation of not being able to do that. So it is now K's turn. K, of course, is over here in Spain. Has 3 track points. There's really nothing to spend it on. And K has a 2 train, so he's going to run for 80, 100, 110. So 55 and 55. And de Gaulle will get 55. And K will get 55. So here's the thing. The next train is $350. And you might be wondering, well, there's another side, isn't there? And yes, there is. Let's go check it out. $300. So what do we got for K? We have 100, 200, 250, 275, 285, 295. We have exactly $300. Now, here is a very, very difficult choice. We have exactly $300, so we could buy a 3 train, or 4 train even, for K. However, the moment he does that, all the 2s rust, and the OE runs that he wanted to do are going to be ruined. And that's part of, he's basically hurting himself. But we have to look at the board now and figure out some math here. So if you look at the board, DSJ is going to get to go first, and they could buy a 4 train. Because I just bought, how many shares of it. I have a ton of cash. MZA could buy a 4 train. MKV could buy a 4 train. GWR has a ton of cash, and it could buy a 4 train. Lawnmower, MSP. In fact, Plum isn't until way down there. And then I think Chin is at the very bottom. So De Gaulle is screwed. He is not going to get an OE run before the train rusts. I just don't see how it's possible. Now, there is some incentive. Some of these companies will make more money if they don't rust the 2 trains because the 2 trains are going to give them a lot more money. And it's a company like K that will purchase the 4 train because it needs to stay alive. It's a very tough choice, to be honest. If you want to screw other players, you buy the 4 train. If you want to milk out your profits, you don't. And some of this boils down to, am I making more money than everybody else? And if I'm making more money than everybody else, then I'm not going to buy that 4 train because these extra 2 trains that are in my arsenal are helping me to make more money. And the people who are going to make the most money are the ones who did mergers. And right now, those 2 people are me and Medici. We both did mergers. I think Lord Wellington may have done a merger as well. He may not have. So the ones who did mergers are going to have extra trains. And here's what I mean by that. See here, I have a 3, a 2, and a 2. If he buys the 4 train, both of these 2s go away. And then all I have left is a 3. But if he doesn't buy that 4 train, then I get to run this and get all the revenue for this. Then I get to get all the revenue for 2 more trains on top of that. So you see how I'm going to make a ton of money? That's something, part of the strategy. And then another thing is I can make a ton of money. And then I can say, okay, now I'm going to buy a 4 train because I don't need these anymore and screw the rest of you. So tons of strategy in this game. And when you're playing it multiplayer, some people do really dumb things, or they do things you're not expecting, and it really will screw up your game because you'll get angry at them. It's like, why would you do that? That's stupid. It doesn't even help them, but it hurts you. So that's why they did it. This is one of those situations where De Gaulle really, really does not want to buy this 4 train, but then he's got to hope that nobody else will for a very long time. And it's just very low possibility. And if everybody at the table goes into cahoots with each other, they could all agree not to buy the 4 train, and then that would prolong the game, by another round. It's just very unlikely to happen. And so I'm sitting here and looking at this situation, and I see no... The other thing is if the K bought the 4 train, it would be without whistle stops. And if you look at the K spot there, there's tons of whistle stops. In fact, one of the reasons this is a lucrative route is because there's a $20 whistle stop. So De Gaulle's not going to do it. He's pretty sure he's going to be screwed. But he's not going to buy a bogus 4 train, and we're going to just see how this plays out. So it will end his turn, but we still have H and B, and those 2 could possibly buy the 4 train. Let's find out. So it's H's turn. H is sort of in a pickle track-wise. There's not much he can do. He's got Madrid. Yes, that's great, but he has nowhere to go. I mean, if he goes straight through Madrid, he's going into a mountain. This is taking him into a mountain. That's taking him into a mountain. H doesn't want to spend money. He wants to buy the 4 train now. And he's been going to New York, which is a nice perk. So New York is $60. He's 30. So it's a $100 run. So H is going to go for 50-50, and that is Lord Wellington's. And I can tell you right now that as some of these players, myself, who played them, is thinking that we probably shouldn't have risked it. But getting an extra $50 like we just did right now is pretty good. So H gets 50, and he gets 50. Nope, wrong guy. He gets 50. Okay, after H is us, we go with B. So I guess the one good thing with De Gaulle's decision is we get to at least get revenue for B. It's not going to be a lot of revenue, but it'll be something. And B is in this log jam here. And I can upgrade track for 1 point. and there's nothing to upgrade. I still can't lay outside of my zone. So one of the things that you might be wondering is, can I start plowing to Constantinople? And the answer is yes, but not with B, because he's a minor. But what I can do, since B's not going to be able to afford to buy, he's not going to be able to afford to buy a train. He's going to spend 45 bucks. And we're going to go over the mountain, and I'm not going to use my free mountain space. We're going to make sure that they're connected there. So that is a pathway to Berlin. B could lay a token now in Kibbles and Bits territory, and because he's already, well, actually B's placed all of his tokens, so he can't. So he is connected to Berlin already, but that will at least help the other companies connect to Berlin if they need to. So yeah, we're looking at 120 bucks for B. So that's 60-60. And I'll take that, and I thank Mr. DeGaulle. And I told Mr. DeGaulle I will buy a share of his company stock whenever we get back to the stock ground for doing that favor for me. And speaking of which, GWR is sold completely out. So GWR actually moves up. So it is now up here where DSJ is. I forgot to do that at the end of the stock round. Okay, we are now done with the regionals, and we do start with DSJ. DSJ does have the bonus of having all those extra 2 trains, and he can go outside of his zone. So we have Sweden, of course, but DSJ is also way over there in Constantinople. I'm not St. Petersburg. So we have the benefit of being able to go all the way down the same track that Russia uses. And I have a 3 train and 2 trains. And the 3 train right now is very lucrative, doing the Moscow to St. Petersburg to northern Sweden. And then the 2 trains would be better served to go from Narvik to my port, through my port to Copenhagen. And I think that's what I'm going to do. I would do an OE run, but I don't have a path to OE. Just to show you, let's back up here. Russia started to build one, and we would need to lay 1, 2, we'd have to lay some more track. And right now, I have a path. There's nothing blocking me from being all the way down here. And remember, I can lay track, and DSJ does have money. So let's think about this. Do I want to do that? I do want to do that. Holy cow, do I want to do that. This is quite a wonderful blessing, in fact. Yeah, I think I want to do that. So let's do, because we have to lay some track here. There's 1 for 30. And I'm just going to reach into my pack stash here and take out 30 bucks. Okay, and then here is 2. And then here's an interesting thing. You can see here, let me move this over some more so you can see better. There's a ferry that goes to Constantinople, but you see there's a -1. So that actually counts as a city, just like any C zone. And if I put a token in Constantinople, I can cancel that. So I have 2 choices. I can make this trek go into the ferry, or I can keep plowing, and then I have to pay another $30 here, and then I can come through this way. I'm going to do the ferry thing and force somebody else to pay the $30 to go around the ferry. And here's how this is going to work. So that's 2 track points right there. Constantinople is 2 more track points. And if I can find it, give me a second. It's buried in here somewhere. There it is. So for 2 more track points, I can lay Constantinople. So that's 4 track points. And I have a choice. I can go like that, which is a really weird one, and that blocks anybody from coming in this way. Okay? I can go like that, which then blocks this port. And then this one swings around. I can't go like this. So that's sort of like, yeah, you only have so many ways you can go there. And then if I put this in, you can see it just gets a little bit better. So the landway there is actually pretty brutal. So this would be 4 track points. And I would do it like this. So I can even do it that way, right? So now I'm coming in and going to that port, but then you can come in through the land here and go this way, but this port has no connection. So there's, now you may be thinking, okay, well, if this port has no connection, we're screwing Constantinople, and that's not true, because right here, Constantinople has yet another port there. So there's many ways to get into Constantinople. The one thing I can do, though, is I can screw this port and prevent Russia from getting OE runs. So I could do, you know, something like that, and then Russia would have to go 1, 2, 3 sea zones to be able to get in. And that's a pretty interesting strategy. But Russia knows that all he has to do is lay a few more tracks, and he can come in through the land route if I do that. I could do it that way and prevent him from coming in through the land route. That's an interesting way too. The thing is I want to come in through the land so I can do an OE run with my other companies. So I have to think about my other companies here. So I'm going to do it this way. All right, so with all that analysis done, I'm laying track over a ferry, and there is a chart we have to refer to. I'm laying track over a ferry, so you can see track by ferry is $5 times the distance, and then I'm going to lay a token by the ferries, which is $20 times the distance. So I'm going to have to pay $25 on top of my token fee. But DSJ is swimming in money right now, so that's not a big concern. And so let's do that. I'm going to spend, I still have a second token to play. So I'm going to spend the $25 in fees, and then I'm going to spend the $20 for the token. So that's $45 I just spent, which is not bad at all. And I already paid for the $30 to lay the track, over the swamp. And so then what we're going to do is, since we're laying stuff over a ferry, I'm going to put this here. And so now that little ferry is discounted. So I now have a token in Constantinople, and I no longer have to pay to go over that ferry. So all that work for what? I will show you. I have 2 more track points left, and I'm going to do nothing with it, I don't think. Let me see. Is there anything I need to do with 2 track points? Oh, I'm just going to connect some stuff up in Norway in case I become a government company. All right, so here's the thing. We have 3, 2, and 2. I'm allowed to combine them together, as long as they're not brown, into a 7+7 train. So let's start at Constantinople and go backwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? So I can do it in 5. And in fact, I can cut 2 of them out. I can go 1, 2, and because of the bypass, I can do it in 3 cities. So I can do it with just my 3 train. Holy buckets. See, aren't I good at this game? So I just made it so I can do it with a 3 train. I can go from St. Petersburg all the way to Constantinople with just my 3 train. In fact, I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to use my 2 trains to go through the harbor over there, because that's a nice lucrative route. And actually, I'm going to have, and then I'll have one of my 2 trains do that and take whistle stops, and then I'll have my other one go from St. Petersburg to northern Sweden. So we're going to do 3 different routes here, and one of them is going to be Constantinople. So let me show you how this is done. So let's start adding up the, let's do the easy ones first, the 2 train. So Narvik up there, I know it's hard to see, but Narvik way up there is a $60 stop. Then Copenhagen is a $40, and that's my 2 train. And then I'm going to add $20 in whistle stops. And those whistle stops are the ones that are just going up Sweden there. So that's 120 bucks. So now I'm going to add the red zone in northern Sweden, which is $50, plus the red zone that is St. Petersburg, which is $50. And then I'm going to add 2 more whistle stops, which are way up there. I know these are hard to see with the camera, but I'm just sort of helping you through it. So that's $240. So now we're going to do the OE run. So we're going to do $50 for St. Petersburg. We're going to skip Moscow, and we're going to come down to where MKV token is, and that's $40. Okay. And then we're going to keep coming down, and we're going to go all the way to Constantinople, which is a $30 stop, because it's a yellow city. Okay, and then we get 3 whistle stops. One of those 3 is right here at the ferry. You can see there's a $20 whistle stop. $20 whistle stop right there. So we're going to add $20 for that special whistle stop, and then $20 for the other 2, which just count any of the bazillion we passed along the way. And so that is $160, which gets added to the $240 we already had. So we're at $400 so far, but we're not done. We just did an OE run, and since we're in train phase 2 and 3, our OE run is another $30. So we get to add $30 more just for going to Constantinople. So that's a $430 run. Okay. So let's deal. So now we also get a first time bonus for going to OE. And so I'm swinging over this way, and that's what these tokens are for. We're going to show that we just did an Oriental Express run, so we get a special token to show that we did it, and we took our one-time bonus. So for going there for the first time, we're going to get a bonus, and that token is just to remind us that we already did that once, because we might forget later in the game. So what does that mean for us? Well, we got 2 choices. I can take that $430 and I can give it to the company and then make another $430. So I get to basically do a double run. Or I can go up 3 on the stock track. And I have 7 shares of this stock, so guess which one I'm going to do? I'm going to go up 3 on the stock track. So I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3. And then I know I hit my number of $200, so I'm going to go up a 4th time. So we went gangbusters there. And I just got 4 bumps on the stock track with this company. So I am now valued at $225 a share. And Mr. Medici is sitting there smiling because he bought one of those shares. So I just did an OE run. And now we got to pay out the $43 a share. So at $43 a share, I have 7 shares. So I'm getting $301 just for me. Now, Mr. Medici gets $43 a share. And I'm just grabbing $43. And we're just going to put it on the game board, and that's Mr. Medici's money. We'll grab it later. And then the company itself still has 2 shares. So at $43 a share, we're going to get $86. So 50, 75, 85, $86 to add to its already large stack. So I can buy a train. I don't know if I want to. That's how crazy this is. But I think what I want to do is I'm going to buy a train from KBS. Yes. So I'm going to buy a train from KBS, and I'm going to buy this 2 train here. And so now I'm up to my maximum limit of 4 trains. I'm going to buy a train from KBS, and I'm going to buy it for every dollar I have. So all my money is going over to KBS. And Mr. Medici's looking at me and wondering what kind of shenanigans I'm up to. And I'm just smiling at him. So my only regret is I shouldn't have done this merger, because I'm going to lose this special power. But secretly, I'm going to whisper it so Mr. Medici can't hear us. This is going to be a government company. So I'm going to turn this into a government. And Sweden and Norway is not a bad company to be a government. This was actually shaping up to be a wonderful company for us. Well, actually, no. What am I thinking? I just put a token in Constantinople. Never mind. I'm coming back. I'm coming back. We're coming back. We're not doing that. That would be dumb. It actually would be a nice thing to do, because I really think you want to do an OE run. So I'm actually doing de Gaulle's strategy. I did an OE run, and then I'm going to become a government before we rust the trains. I'm actually going to hold. Well, should I just buy the 4 train and call it done? I'm poised to make a lot of money if nobody buys the 4 train. Oh. I'm not going to buy a 4 train. I'm going to hold on to my money. I know it seems crazy, but that's what I'm going to do. I want to get better trains, so I'm going to make some change here. So that's 200, that's 300, that's $400 in 50s. So we're going to get $400, and I'm sitting on basically $600 in cash with DSJ. And what I want to do is I want to buy a 5 train or something that's permanent with it. And I'm not in a hurry to rush these 2 trains, really. We want to make money, and I think we're poised to make money. So I'm going to let it go. Now GWR is up, and he might buy the 4 train. We're going to figure this out. So let's come around to GWR. He does not have a lot of track laying options. GWR is over here in Austria, though. And so GWR hates what MAV did. So MAV is blocking him as well. And the other thing about GWR is he can plow through the mountains and get to Constantinople, which is what he sort of wants to do so he can get his OE run in, but it doesn't look like it's going to be very easy to do. And with 6 track points, it's impossible to get to Constantinople this turn. And he still has to figure out how to get to Berlin, which he would also have to spend more money to do. So GWR does not have an easy path. Actually, GWR does have a path to Berlin, because if you go from London, you can trace a path from London all the way over, and then through Prussia, past the Netherlands there, and then where Hamburg is, where BHB is, you can get all the way to Berlin from GWR, and you can even connect in where WW is here and actually go and follow the path all the way to Constantinople. That's a very interesting observation. So GWR is considering that. In fact, it will do that. So here we go for 1. 2, 3, 4. So it just connected to, he did the thing that WW's been wanting all along. It's now connected to Russia. And if you follow the path in Russia, that path goes all the way down to Constantinople. So we could, from London, go all the way to Constantinople. And so let's go see what trains GWR has. GWR has a 3 and a 2 plus 2 and a 2 plus 2. So that's a 7 plus 7. So let's count the cities it would have to go through. 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's a 4. 5, 6, 7. So it has to go through 7 cities just to get to Berlin. That's awful. But what it can do is it can pay for a token in Berlin. But here's the thing, there's a -1 on that ferry. And I took the token spot, so he can't build a token there. So if he goes into Berlin, he could put a token in Berlin, and then it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He would only need 5 train points to do an OE run. He's going to do it. He's going to spend $40 and put a token here in Berlin. So let me grab $40 out of his stash here. So he now has a token in Berlin, and he's going to do a 5 train to Berlin. He's going to take his 3 and his 2 and make 5. And let me show you how he's going to do it. So there's 1, 2, 3, and then he can just keep going. And then he has to lose 1 for the ferry, and then 5 for Constantinople. So getting out the calculator, that's 60 plus 40 plus 30 plus 30 for Constantinople, and then 30 for the bonus. So that's a $190 run. And then he still has a 2 train left, so he's going to just go to London and go from London to Birmingham for another 60 plus 50 plus 40 in whistle stops. Oh, and I forgot to add the whistle stops. So he would get to add 60 in whistle stops, because there's a $20 whistle stop that he went over. That's a $400 run. That's very good. So at $40 a share times 7, he's going to get $280, and that's Mr. Wellington. So I'm giving him $300 and 20 and change. And then at $40 a share for Mr. Medici, he gets $120. So I'm giving him $120. And I'm also taking the money that was on the table, because that's also Mr. Medici, because he invested in DSJ. And Mr. Medici is very happy because we now have 2 companies that did an OE run, and he bought both of them. So GWR is going to take an OE token, which I just did, and he's doing the same thing. He's not letting DSJ get up. Remember, Mr. Wellington has a lot of pride. He wants the best company in the game, so he's going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, unlike DSJ, GWR is going to give all his money to Lawnmower. So all of his money is going to go over to Lawnmower. A huge stack of money. And he's going to buy the 2 train from Lawnmower. So he now has his maximum of 4 trains. And he's doing it for whatever that was. You get to name your price when you buy a train from another company. So he's giving that the lawnmower, and GWR does have this company, and it's going to lose it, but he's planning on becoming a national. And Mr. Medici knows it, and he approves. We didn't ask him, but he approves anyways. Okay, so GWR is done. He is not buying a Fortrain, in case you were wondering. And so now it is MZA's turn. MZA is Mr. Medici. So let's see what MZA has. It has a 3 and a 2 train. And he's going to spend $125 from the company's money, of course. And he's going to buy a South Seas token so he can go over the Mediterranean and get a +2. Because he's trying to do an OE run with MZA. Unfortunately, MZA is not in a spot where it's as easy to do, but what MZA can do, and he's going to do, is he's going to build his token right where Chin is. And so he's going to do an OE run at the spot where Chin has been trying to do an OE run the entire game. So we're going to spend $20 more from MZA. And by the way, MZA is down to $3. So there's a real high chance MZA is not buying the Fortrain. And MZA is going to put a second token here, like so. And now he can go from Madrid to the city that Chin is in. And then he has the South Seas token, and he's going to do an OE run. And I'll show you how. So Madrid, which is a little off the camera here, he's going to do that for 1 stop. This is 2 stops. And then this sea zone is canceled because of the token. And then the South Seas token is going to cancel this. That's the Port Authority. And then we're going to cancel the Aegean Sea, and we go right into Constantinople. So it's going to be that simple. It makes it seem simple, but there was a lot going on in building that up. So MZA is going to do an OE run with a 3 train. And then he still has a 2 train left, and he'll just run from Madrid to his own city. So Madrid is a $50 city. So we're going to do 50 plus his city, which is 40. And he's going to get 2 whistle stops for 20. So that's his 2 plus 2 train. Now he's going to do his 3 train, which is a 3 plus 3. So he's going to get 50 plus 10 for 1 whistle stop, plus 40 for the port. And then he's going to go all the way over to Constantinople and get 30 at Constantinople. And then he gets the $30 bonus from Constantinople. And that's a $270 run. Not as good as $400, but he has 1 less train than those other companies did. So $27. Medici has 4 shares. He's getting $108 for the run. So we're going to take 110 and put $2 back. And then MZA has 7 shares. No, 6 shares. So 27 times 6. MZA is going to get $162, which is good money, but it's not enough to buy a Fortrain. So sorry, I've been doing stuff with 2 hands here. But as you can see, Medici's building his McScrooge pile of gold here. And then MZA did get some money from this, but it's not enough to buy a Fortrain. And that's fine. He's not too concerned about it. But the big thing Medici wants is he wants stock value, right? So he is getting a OE token for his company. And then more importantly, he's going to move up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So he's in fantastic shape. So now we go to MKV. MKV is the Russian company. And MKV did not get a lot of money because we didn't buy any of his stocks. So he's probably not going to buy a Fortrain either. He does have $200 right now, but a 4 train is $350. He has a 3 train and a 2 train. Yes, he has a 3 train and a 2 train. And he's in Moscow, so he can go from St. Petersburg. He can actually do an OE run, and he will. And he's going to do it with both of his trains. He's going to do a 5-stop route. So we're going to trace. There's St. Petersburg just off the camera. That's $50. And then Moscow here is $50. And then this is a $20 whistle stop. And then, so that's 2, right? So he gets to do 5 stops. This is going to be 3. We're going to skip this city. We're going to do this one for 3. That's 40. We're going to lose one for the ferry. That's 4. And then Constantinople will be 5 for 30. However, we get a $30 bonus for going to Constantinople. And we get a $20 whistle stop there. And we still have 3 more whistle stops, so that's $30 more. So that's a $270 run. So we're going to give an OE bonus to MKV. And we're going to give it $27 times 3. It's $81 for Mr. Troikovsky. So 50, 75, 81. And then 27 times 7. Oh man, that's 189. 50, 75. 85, 90, and we're going to take $1 back. Okay, so he actually has $350. He could buy a 4 train. So you might be wondering, why am I delaying so much with buying this 4 train? Every player wants to have at least one government company. And in most games, that is how you want to play this. Because a government company can buy trains from your other companies, and it benefits them immensely. And they don't get to set the price anymore, because once it's a government company, the government sets the price, and it's basically just half of whatever it's worth, right? So you can buy a train for just half of whatever it's worth, and that's still good, because you're getting half value for all your old trains you want to get rid of. And so having a government company so you can dump your old trains into that company is a very valuable thing. So what you're seeing is, with DSJ, I wanted to do that strategy, but I backtracked, right? I decided, nope, I'm not going to do that with DSJ. But with this guy, you could see that GWR gave all of his money to Lawnmower. Because here's the thing, when you become a government company, you lose all your money. The money goes to the bank. So you want to have no money in your company when you become a government company. So by buying a train from Lawnmower, he was able to give all of his cash to Lawnmower. So now Lawnmower is a super powerful company, and GWR is a super powerful company. So that was the big thing. And in fact, I'm just realizing Medici wants to do the same thing. So Medici is going to buy, he's going to buy a train from Mav. No. He's going to buy a train from... Does he really want to do the same thing? Mav is such a crappy company. Just thinking, sorry. Medici wants to do the same thing. I mean, I know he couldn't afford a 4 train, but I don't think he wants to have an MZA company. Yeah, so he's going to buy a 2 train from SFAI here. and he's going to give him $150 for that. And then he's going to buy a 2 train from SFR. He can buy more than 1 train as long as he's not at his train limit. So that's 4. And then he's just going to give whatever else he has left to SFR. Yeah, that's what he's going to do. Okay, anyways, everybody's setting up to have a government. And Mr. Russia is no different. And so what I was planning on doing was having MSP and Blizzard be the 2. But we're in a spot now where we need to hurry because we don't know who's going to buy that 4 train. And if Medici goes a second time, he's not going to be as nice. Well, actually, he wasn't allowed to be a meanie anyways. He didn't have enough money. But Lord Wellington may not be as nice because Lawnmower is for sure not going to go government. And he already has his government company set up, so he's like, screw the rest of you. If you're not as good as me, then you're just going to have to get in line. So MKB is very likely going to be our government company. So what MKB is going to do is we need to just make another company more powerful. That's really what we need to do. WW is struggling. Blizzard is going to be pretty good. And so he can buy 2 trains. So we're going to buy for 100 and some change the 2 train from MSP. And then for the rest of his money, he's going to buy from Blizzard. This 2 train. So now he has 4 companies, or four trains in his arsenal, and he's ready to become a national. Now, if Blizzard goes, I may have actually done the wrong thing. I may still want Blizzard to be a government and WW to not be a government because WW is just so poor. He doesn't even have a 3 train. That's government. Oh, yeah. Never mind. Okay, we're done. MKB did his OE run, so we got to give him 4 bumps on the stock track. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now we have Lawnmower, and yes, that's when this is going to end. So we're not going to get a government company unless I want to make DSJ a government company. And I have to make that decision now because if Lawnmower goes, I can't renege on my decision then. The thing with DSJ is I have a token in Constantinople, and there's only 3 people who get to put tokens in Constantinople the entire game, and I'm one of them. And that's an awesome spot to be. I don't want to go government with like SB without doing an OE run first. So I'm sticking it out. I'm sorry. This isn't going to be good, but I'm going to stick it out. So Lawnmower's up, and that means the gig is up. Everybody going into cahoots with each other to get extra money is now over. Lawnmower only has 1 3+3 train because GWR bought his 2 train from him. And Lawnmower is going to run for this is 60 and over here, so sorry. We have a $60 spot here, a $40 spot, and then a $60 spot, which is better than doing a 60 and a 50 and a 40. So we'll do a 60, 60, 40. And there's 3 whistle stops easily along the way. So doing some math, that's what, 6, 12, 16, 17, 18, 19. So $19 a share. And Wellington has 3 shares. So that's $57 for Wellington. So we're going to give him $60. And I don't even have $3 to put back. So there we go. Now Lawnmower has the rest. So $19 a share times 7. That's $133 for lawnmower. So it's just even more carnage for his stack of money doom here. And I'm going to see if I can get this camera down. Yes. So let's sort through this. This is BHB's money, so I'm going to get that out of the way. I'm just going to try sorting this money and maybe consolidating it to see just how much he really has. Okay. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 5, 10. Yeah, so this is $25. 10, 20, 30, 40, and then 2 5s. We just made change for a 50, 100, 200, 300, $400. So we're going to hand in all these 50s. And take $400, and we're sitting on 400, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, $1,200 for a lawnmower. Holy cow. $1,200 for a lawnmower. Oh, and I have all these 25s. I totally forgot about those. That's 100, 200 more. So $1,400. It only costs $350 for a train, so we're going to do that. 1, 2, 3. Here's $400. I'm going to take $50 back, and let's buy a 4 train. So I'm reaching over to buy a 4 train. Okay, 4 train is purchased, and the game immediately pauses because, as you can see, it rusts on a 4 + 4 + 4. So the 2 trains are now rusting in the game. So what happens is we go to the next player, not the current player. Current player is player 3. We're going to go to player 4, which is De Gaulle, and we're going to start with him. And he's going to declare if he has any government companies. And De Gaulle is pissed because he's the only one of all of us who was trying to do OE runs before this happened. And he's the only one of us who didn't do an OE run before this happened. That is so crazy. Plum and Chin were the 2 he was setting up to do OE runs. Bell and RCP, of course, could become... He has a 3 train with all of his companies except for his miners. And so his miners are going to just lose their trains. There's nothing he can do about that. He is choosing not to have any government companies. So I'm going to put this down, and we're going to take all the 2 trains away from all of his companies because all of his 2 trains rusted. So everybody's losing their 2 train. And unfortunately, his dream of doing an OE run... Now, could I go government? Yes, I could. But I'm going to lose all my money. So all the money is going to be gone. You saw the shenanigans I did where I did an OE run and then I gave away all my money to buy a silly train, right? That is a wonderful strategy. This is not, losing all this money just to go government is not as worth it. And we're going to get a chance to go government again during train phase 6, when the 6th train is bought. So it's not the only time you can become a government. But right now, De Gaulle is in a pickle, and he's choosing not to go government with anybody. And that's a shame. He's not happy, but that's how it worked out. And so all the rusted trains that he has now go on the board, but sideways. So there's this little spot for the cards to be turned sideways. And so all the government companies can take these for free. These now belong to the government, these trains. And government companies use rusted trains as part of their train lineup. The other thing that's happening is, you can see here, that we now hit train phase 4. So all minor companies can only have one train. Regional companies can only have one train. Major companies are now limited to 3 trains, and nationals can have 4. Nationals are the new government trains companies. And you can see there was no such thing as a national until right now. So we haven't created any nationals yet, but it now goes to me, and I'm in the same boat. And I had an opportunity to do it with DSJ, but I chose not to. So all my 2 trains are melting. And my B company is without a train. So we're melting and melting. Okay, so I am now sitting there with a whole bunch, and I do have trains with all my companies but my B company. So now we're going to go to Medici. Medici is going to go government with MZA. So the first thing that you do is you take all the shares that MZA has, and it goes into the market board. So they are now owned by the government, okay? The second thing is all of his tokens on the board disappear. He is now the entire country of Spain, so he doesn't need tokens anymore. He has a token in every city, including the cities that don't even have any track. He is considered to have a token everywhere. And so I'm going to grab one of these cups, and his tokens are out of the game. So we grab the 2 off the board, and now we're just going to put all these away and just sit it over here for cleanup later on. The other very cool thing is he doesn't lose his trains. He keeps them all. All 4 of these are his. He does lose this, though. Governments don't need this. And the government does not lay track or even leave his own country ever again. So from now on, his entire revenue stream is going to come only from Spain and nowhere else. So that is the one restraint with government. So no more OE runs for him, nothing. But he already did an OE run, so he got a nice stock bump, and so he's going to be worth a lot. And so Mav is attractive to go government, but he won't. He was able to buy a 3 train, so he's going to stick with Mav. The 2 miners do get into a pickle. And then his other companies already had their 2 trains purchased from them, so they don't have anything to give up. So I'm just holding his 2 trains in my hand. And then we go to Mr. Russia, and as you may have guessed, MKV is doing this. So I'm just going to grab another one of these, and we're going to get MKV's tokens put away. His shares go into the market. This, by the way, is the place where I said you can go over your 6 share limit if you're willing to pay double. That's one of the ways those shares end up in the market. Okay, he has 4 trains, like so. Nobody else is going to go government, but his 2 miners do lose their trains. So they're going to be without a train. And I believe WW, so see, WW is going to lose its train. And so this is a tough spot. And so what he's going to do is he's actually going to go government with 2 of his companies. He has no choice. Otherwise, he would have no train at all for WW. And then he's forced to do a train purchase from his own personal money. And that's not good either, because WW is not doing well at all. And so all of WW shares are going to go into the market. Now, having 2 of his 4 companies go government is actually the Russian strategy, just to be honest with you. You want 2 government companies in Russia. And not necessarily anybody else would want to do this, but from the very start of the game, before we even started, his strategy was to have 2 of his 4 go government. I think he wanted a different set of 2 to go government than this. Now, the other unfortunate part is you lose all your money. So all this money goes away. It really wasn't that much money. It was about 100 and some change. But yes, and he keeps his 1 train. And when it's his turn, he can take 3 trains from the bank for free at the end of his turn. Because remember, you don't buy trains until later. So with that being said, he's done. He has 2 government companies. And let me grab another one of these. And let's not forget, all their tokens go off the board. So MKV's tokens and WW's tokens all disappear. And I believe that was all of them. Yes, it is. So, okay, and now it gets back to here, and yes, we are doing the same thing for more Mr. Lord Wellington. And I'm grabbing another tray here. Let's start putting away GWR. There's 4 tokens, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 total. So, looking on the board here, 5, 6, 7, 8. So GWR is now a national. Now, when you become a national, you lose the privileges of your minor. So this is now basically out of the game. And the other thing you're supposed to do, which you haven't seen me do yet because it's just a pain in the butt to take all the stuff off, is you actually flip over to this side and see, and it has a national flag. So now it's a British-run company. It's called British Railways, whereas before it was Great Western. This was a privately held company. Now you're British Railways. You're a government company. So it tells you how many cities you have in all of Great Britain. Because remember, you're stuck to your country and no other country. So when you do your run, so let's say we have this setup here of a 2 plus a 3 plus a 2. So that's a 7 plus 7. You get to pick 7 cities from here and 7 whistle stops. So whistle stops are towns, right? So there's 16 total whistle stops available. There's 2 metropolis, 2 grand cities, and then there's 1 red zone called the Scottish Highlands. So when you're doing your 7, you get to pick any of those 7. And then, of course, the plus 7 is from the towns. Now, you do need to build track on those spots, but you don't have to connect anything. You don't have to run any routes. You're literally just picking, I'm going to do this city, this city, this city, this city, and this town, that town, that town, that town. And as long as you have track on that city or on that town, you get to count it. And so it's a very beautiful, simple way to collect money. Now, he has 4 trains. Now, the other thing you're going to notice on the back of this card is that it's a Pullman. And the Pullman is you take the best train you have, which is this one, and you can see that it says level 3. So you get to basically multiply that by 10. So whatever you make in your routes, you get to add $30. That's what the Pullman does. It basically takes, so if I have a level 8 train, I get to add $80. And so the Pullman just adds whatever your highest level train times 10 to your runs. So you get extra revenue for the Pullmans. And if you remember, Medici owns the Pullman company. So now the Pullmans are available for sale, and we can buy a Pullman for $150. All of our companies can. And anytime a player buys a Pullman, $15 of that goes to Medici's Company M. So Medici will make some money off of people buying Pullmans. Now the government companies get a Pullman for free. And that's it. So then we just rest all the 2s. So those 2 rest, and I think BHB has 1. It does. And Lawnmower does not. So all of that happened just from buying a 4 train. And now you can see why some of the companies were holding off. De Gaulle in particular, he didn't like it. He was really hoping that it would have gotten back to him. But Mr. Wellington here had an offer he couldn't refuse. Because Mr. Wellington was okay with delaying it for a while as well, if you think about it. So that is how to rust. And I'm realizing I'm at an hour and 24 and YouTube is going to hate me. So I'm going to stop here and see you in a few seconds.